Someone has mentioned wondering about the African violet starter plants that I started from seed, and here they are. But first, I want to show you there are actually two types of African violets here. These two in African violet pots, these are African violet pots, where they have a built-in reservoir so that when you add water, because African violets always like moisture and humidity. And then some of the others I have in a couple of narrow trays, or I have them each having their own tray. But these two in these pots were started from leaves, where you cut a mature leaf off of a plant, leave a stem about 1.5 to 2 inches long on the leaf, cut the stem edge cleanly, and stick it in dirt. Now, the reason I'm showing you those, so I planted 2 leaves in this pot, and I'm getting 2 complete plants. I planted, I think 2 leaves in this pot, and I'm also getting 2 complete plants. Now, everybody thinks that African violets take so long from seed. I started these leaves on May 18th, and as you can see, I've got small little plants. I started those seeds on May 29th. So a week after I started the leaves, and those are the seedlings. And those are in 3-inch square pots that are about 3.5 inches tall. They're actually orchid pots. And if you remember, it was better for me to put them in these with a low soil level than it was to put them in the what other pots I had at the time that weren't going to be right at all. So they're getting enough light. There's one toward the back there that's a little tiny that I should move this way. And I have a light here, which is an LED light, and it's actually a lamp or a craft light that I just keep aimed at the plants. And it goes on all day, so they get added light in this one area. And out of a 50 seed packet that came from Park Seed, I got 30 plants, 29 or 30. And there's actually, I saved the little seed starter thing that I started them in, and there's one little tiny, tiny, tiny plant still coming up. So they are a little bit staggered. That one over there is smaller. They all started to come up at the same time. So that's about 4 months, right? May 29th to this is September 14th. About almost 4 months, and that's how big they are. Now, the fun part about this is going to be when they start to bloom, and whether or not, my luck is they'll all be purple, even though they're from seeds, because I tend to end up with purple African violets, which is fine with me. I actually love purple. These two that I started from leaves, all of those will be purple because I like them. But fantasy hybrid seeds should give me a variety of colors. So we'll see. Out of 50 seeds, I got 29 or 30 plants. You would think I would get more than purple out of that. But purple is the dominant color of African violets. So I won't be surprised if all of them are purple. Because even if you have a pink, a dark pink, a red, if the conditions are right, it might revert back to purple. It depends on how the person who hybridizes these seeds, it depends on how they do it and how many generations they do it for. Once you get a certain color, you have to keep hybridizing or breeding, depending on how you're doing it, for that color. And it gets a little bit complicated with plant genetics. But these have been around for a while. So hopefully I'll get different colors showing up. And then what you do, of course, is if I get one that's, say, a pink, I forget what they call it, with a pink bicolor. and then I take leaves off of that and plant that, I would have to make sure that I then get a pink bicolor on the baby plant. So it's actually a lot of fun, especially if you get different colors. The only yellow African violet I've ever seen is called Warm Sunshine. There are other yellows now, but the one that I had seen and I grew actually for about 4 or 5 years is called Warm Sunshine. And it's now kind of an older variety, and you can't find it, but it reliably grew and it reliably bloomed yellow. So if you're looking for a yellow, I would look for that. But we'll see how they do. 4 months. It'll be at least another 2 months probably before they're really big. They may bloom before that. I use Miracle Grow diluted in their water. You can also buy an African violet fertilizer. Specifically, they usually push the blooming. So you can do it either way. But you can use diluted Miracle Grow as well. It's just that that's not made to force blooming, such as an African violet fertilizer. But there they are, and they're cheery and happy next to where I work most of the time. And, it makes a difference having plants around.